Hello and welcome to the Libri Labra Book Club. My name is Desiree and you are on my channel. I am joined by my husband John, aka BookTube Hubby, and also by Book Club VIP member Tom. And before we kind of jump into things, if you ever want to join us on camera to discuss any of the books, you can do that by becoming a patron at patreon.com/LibriLabra. And there's a few different perks like a custom bookmark. You get to be in a rotation where you help us select the books that we're going to be reading for the year. And you also get to be part of a Facebook group where we talk about some of the media that we're consuming. So this month was my pick, I believe. And even though we don't normally read memoirs, I was kind of just feeling the memoir mood. And also because it was like nonfiction November, I think that's what I was thinking in my head. Um, and so we landed on the George Carlin memoir called Last Words. And I do have picture of that. Like, so Last Words by George Carlin, and with Tony Hendra and read by Patrick Carlin, which was his brother, correct? Yeah. Um, and one of the reasons I picked it was just because I feel like recently some George Carlin clips have been coming up. The fact that they're so old but still so relevant, like he was obviously before his time.
But he was warning everybody before it even happened.
And so anyway, so I was like, oh, I'd love to know more about George Carlin because I knew who he was, but like just some of the things he was saying, I was like, that is brilliant. So I wanted to learn more about him. I don't know if spoilers are really a thing when we're talking about memoirs, but we'll quickly just do some initial thoughts and then jump into like talking about it in more detail. So if you haven't read it and you do want to read it, go ahead and do that and come back some other time. But initial thoughts.
I was excited going into this anyway because I'm a big fan of George Carlin. From any of the past comedians, like the top three have always been, I don't know which order, but George Carlin, Robin Williams, and Bill Hicks. And Bill Hicks and George Carlin were always in the existential, the guys, and you guys need to wake up, and So I don't know. I've always been excited to get more into George's life. So
I think like an initial thought for me was just that. I mean, celebrities are celebrities, and you kind of just know a little bit about them. And obviously, I didn't really know a ton about George Carlin's life, but I didn't realize like the time period that he existed in, nor have I ever stopped to consider what was happening during that time. So that was just like really enlightening and very interesting to me. How about you, Tom?
Well, I saw George Carlin live when he came here. God, it was like the late 80s, early 90s, I have to say, but I don't remember exactly when. And the place was sold out. And, he said I think that was when he was at his height, doing stand-up and such. And, of course, the HBO specials were a thing. So, yeah, that's the reason I wanted to see it.
That's so awesome that you got to see him. What place?
Yeah, what was the venue?
In Scranton. I'm trying to say the Catholic Youth Center, which is a smallish venue. But like I said, the crowd was enthusiastic, as he says in his book. So, it was really good. Yeah, he had the 7 dirty words, couldn't see on television, of course. Like he mentions in the book, he doesn't like topical humor, but it's addressing what was going on, which is apparently an ongoing thing because it's still relevant. So,
I did you have like a text version of this, or were we all just listening to the?
No, I have both. I actually read it and I listened, not at the same time though, because it's too hard. Because it's like they'd read like the first line of the paragraph and then it'd go like 3 paragraphs down. It's like wait, and it's the abridgment. So I just read the
right.
And then,
Boo. I'm gonna have to go back and
I forgot
reread.
about that.
Damn.
Yeah. I wonder how much is left out of the audio.
I'm tempted to say maybe the original is half of what the print book is.
That's a lot.
That's insane.
That's a lot. Yeah.
Now I feel shitty.
Hmm.
Only have half the information.
That's good to know, though. That like,
Well, you have the essentials, but like, how should I put this? What you have is the play-by-play. What you're missing, I think, is the color commentary. How about that? Like, you have the essential information,
Right.
but there's some of the things like how he elaborates on things, or he'll show as examples. I think that's one part in the book where, I think on the audiobook it's like in his second angioplasty, but in the book he talks about all three of them. So,
mm-hmm.
so stuff like that.
I like Celebrity Memoir, so I guess we'll probably have to buy it, to have a copy of it. I didn't even like have any idea about where he lived or like.
Oh, we're in spoiler territory now.
Yeah.
Not that you couldn't look at Wikipedia or anything or his website and shit. But yeah.
But obviously, like, his brother was narrating this because this came out like after he had already passed away. And I know that you said in the beginning that it was a little difficult for you.
I was like, well, because it wasn't difficult. I just realized that I knew it was Patrick going in, and slowly he started sounding more and more like George. That's the only thing I really noticed, is that going in, it seemed a little patchy. And it seemed like he was talking like he was reading it, but when he finally got into it, he was talking like he was, George, and that was nice.
I think I felt the same, that like when you start it, you're like, oh, this isn't George. But then like over time you kind of forget. But also like, I haven't watched a ton of George Carlin, just like kind of clips here and there. I don't think I've ever seen a full special.
Do you want to watch a stand-up? Because I'm down to watch a few.
Yeah, I'm cool with that. But I know that like I just felt at some point I was like, I feel like I'm being yelled at the entire time.
That's true. He's going to get his point across.
So much of his delivery was just so animated and emotional and kind of like angry, I guess. But understandably, because he learned a lot of things that is angering. I don't know. I'm still in awe. I'm just still in awe that he was talking about all of those things back then.
That's why he was so controversial.
But like, again, knowing nothing about him, to me, he was controversial because he cursed a lot. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't realize the things that he was actually talking about and how he was pushing buttons and pushing against
he pushed
the machine
as many
and
buttons
like
as he could, and I loved him for it.
But that's it's just so hard. I think there's a moment where he was talking about like I don't know if I want to go that far yet.
But it's here. You're gonna miss it later.
I'll come back to it.
We'll see.
So like just him like kind of manifesting, I thought was interesting, where he was talking about like the steps that he wanted to take through his career. I thought it was funny that like acting was on the end the end of that. Because that just seemed interesting to me. I was like, really, stand up to acting? Like that was
acting is different. You're talking to a group. You actually have in stand up. You actually have that room. In acting, you're actually just doing what someone else wants you to do all the time. So having that doing the acting for the room is different than you controlling and talking to the room. So I don't know. It's just I feel like stand up. You have a little more power.
Oh.
And not everybody actually understands that. And acting is harder than stand up unless you start the other way around.
Tom, what was the format of like the show that you saw? Was it just?
Oh wow. I mean, clearly it was by topic. Do I remember what all the topics were? No.
No.
It's been like how many years now, but
But
no,
was it like an hour thing, a 2 hour thing? Like,
I'd say like an hour, maybe an hour and a half, something like that. Yeah. But I don't remember an intermission. That's not to say there wasn't one. I'm just saying. So.
was it like so many people? Because like I have been to some smaller like New York comedy clubs, and normally like, you know, the comedians will do their thing, and then afterwards they're kind of just hanging out having drinks, so you could potentially just like talk to them for a little bit. Was it like that, or was he just too big?
I was not at the stage door like he was in New York. No, I just saw him, yay, and left. So, so no, I didn't wait around or anything. But like I said, the audience loved him, and but again, by that time, he was famous and such. And getting back to your point about acting, yes, I think the reason why he wanted acting is because that's the biggest stage you can think of. He wanted to be a superstar, but yet here he is as a superstar within stand-up comedy. How many people go to stand-up comedy as opposed to those who see movies?
It's a toss-up, but it's a toss-up. But I appreciate that Kevin Smith just gave him a couple small roles.
I was gonna say, like,
Yeah.
did he eventually end up in Dogma? Was
Yes.
he in
He was in
Dogma?
Dogma.
Okay.
It was the
And-
Cardinal, I think.
and Jay and
He had,
Silent
like a
Bob.
few cameos, yeah. I remember that. I remember. Yeah.
We need to read.
And like you said, it's the whole Catholic thing. So
And how they crossed the good book and the book of the road. Oh my God, that was
and Buddy Jesus and all that. Yeah.
yeah.
But,
He was just making some incredibly astute observations, I think, of like the Democratic Party versus the Republican Party.
and the fact that he switched essentially from a conservative to a liberal.
Yeah, that too, because
that's what his mother was anyway. We don't understand.
Right? Didn't he say he was also like Irish Catholic?
Yep.
Yeah. Implied conservative, implied, but with the church and everything else. So, and the funny part about him being a cardinal is him having those two cardinal things, like when he switched, terminated the one cardinal's broadcast of the prayer so he could get on with the news and such, because they were breaking news and such. And I forget what the other one was, but yeah.
I think it was also really interesting, not just to learn about his life, but to think about comedy and comedy's journey. And like, I, with like book bans that are happening and like teachers that are being attacked. I know that comedians are always in there too, in the groups, and I guess the book just helped me realize why. Why those are they're also kind of
they're on the edge of journalism
right.
a lot, because they're usually on the cutting edge of what's going on, like publicly, and then they're keeping an eye out, and usually those jokes in order to stay relevant. So, I mean, it makes a lot of sense.
I mean, to be honest, like, I started paying attention to politics from watching things like Jon Stewart and like
Colbert,
because they make it not boring and interesting to watch, and like, but you also have to have the critical thinking skills to know, like, this is an exaggeration, this is actually true,
right,
this is
right. That's missing.
But yeah, I just feel like listening to this is just kind of folding over on itself in time, and I'm trying to sit with that. I don't know what to necessarily say or ask. Was there a part that was really surprising to you?
Not really. I mean, I knew a lot about George going into this beforehand, just from watching his stuff. And I mean, I've probably seen a couple interviews in the past, but I know he didn't really do those that often either. But I mean, like, I just really learning that he would snatch a hat off of somebody off of a train doesn't surprise me. The fact that he, there really isn't much about. I feel like he was a force of will in this and what we call reality. So,
Mhm.
and it's interesting to see what he did with what he had. And I really, and it was also, well, okay, that's it. I was surprised to learn that he was that, uh, no low self-esteem, like not as confident as I would have imagined him to be.
Mhm.
The way he expressed himself on, like, I was honestly, it was like really, that was what surprised me. There's your answer. Is like how not confident he was in certain situations.
Well, I mean, I feel like that makes sense when he was pushing against society and
That's
societal
true.
norms.
Yeah, you're right.
The way he was, like to be able to go against the grain, but also to feel like part of such a small amount of voices that were doing that. Um, I think I was kind of taken aback about the story where he was talking. I don't know where he was performing. Um, it was like someplace that had a hotel, and he was talking about how the audience essentially turned on him.
Oh yeah, and
And
they asked him to leave because they said
Yeah,
because
that he would
they
be
couldn't
safe.
protect him. Yeah,
Right.
and
that was in Milwaukee. Yeah.
like, I've been to a ton of comedy shows and I've seen hecklers, and like, sure, like I can imagine
One
some
or
people
two, a few,
thinking
three or
they're
five,
not funny
but a
or whatever.
whole crowd.
Yeah, but to hear some of the comments that people were saying was just like, the audience's inability to recognize the truth that he was sharing. Like, I think he said one of the audience members was like, what do you know about poverty? We don't have poverty here. And it's like,
yeah,
what?
I do remember that. Yeah, we don't have poverty. What kind of echo chamber are you living in? But yeah, I mean, if that was also 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. We'll also should consider when he first started, what his material was to what it eventually became. He mentions he makes the distinction of being an entertainer, which is what he was at first, to becoming an artist. Because his original material didn't have anything to do with him. Whereas as time went on, he invested more of himself in the act, and as he did, he got better and better and better, and that resonates with people. I mean, could you imagine something like the Indian Sergeant being done?
Yeah, that was a little. I like, he was talking about how well that went over, and I was just like, ah.
Yeah, again, and that's how society has changed. Yes, at the time, yay, but and then also too with the conflict about being mainstream, because how else do you get big if you're not going to be mainstream? But when you go to the mainstream, you sell yourself out.
Yeah.
So.
And the other thing I was going to mention was like it happened immediately after that hotel asked him to leave because they couldn't, assure
his safety. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And so he was talking about hitting up Hugh Hefner, and
which he did. That was great.
And that Hugh Hefner was like, if I had been in that audience, I would have been behind you 100%. But then to be like, but we still got to work with these people, so you still have to play the game. And like,
right, that's I had that same. I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Again, if that's the mainstream. You can't ignore it, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how.
I hate it.
Like, I feel like George Carlin was like a visionary, and I feel like that's not how we think. That's not how people like that think. Like, they don't want because you have.
We're seeing this in real time here, yeah.
When you have like very specific ideals, you don't want to compromise them for like the sake of working with people. I don't know. Like,
but again, he swears back. Like, I forget, like when he was doing Vegas and such. Yeah, like when he said, "Well, I'm going to go an extra for however how many minutes," and he said, "Yeah, don't do that again."
Dude, his story about trying to get fired from that one place, that he was crawling under the table, telling them what the underside of the pizza looked like, and he was reading from a phone book in order to get in.
Yes.
What do you mean he wouldn't fire you? That sounds ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Although I think it was Andy Kaufman who had a sketch, and I saw it on Saturday Night Live. He had some huge book on him, like War and Peace or Tale of Two Cities or something, and he starts reading it, and it's clear that the expectation is that he's going to read the entire thing while he's on stage, and of course the audience is laughing because there's no way you're going to finish it. But I'll have to find it and send it to you. It was really, I thought it was really funny. But,
Sorry, just excuse me for a minute. I have to run to the restroom really fast.
okay.
I will be right back.
So George was essentially like, so I showed up to Hugh's house, and I think he said he was playing pool with Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like, I don't know, that was kind of funny because one, I wouldn't have expected that combination, but also like,
Right.
you know, when's the last time I've heard Bill Cosby's name?
Yeah.
And then you also forget that I guess like Bill Cosby also did stand up. Did he also start like that and then went into like having his own?
I don't know, but it wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. Yeah, because you have to refine your material, and that's one thing he alludes to in the book, but he doesn't actually show it. But you know, the finished product that you see is the product of possibly years of him fiddling with the words and the rhythm and how to say them just for the maximum impact. And like you said, you know, I wanted something I could, you know, have the tape up and put it on like permanently. And this is like the best version of this kid ever, and be done. So, yeah, that's what I said. And that's where the work comes in, because you try out material and some of it works, some of it doesn't. But well, what if you get more laughs if you say it differently, or if you phrase it like this? Like when he was talking about those insults. You know, if you say it one way, it's funny. If it's not, then it's not.
Right.
But the rhythm, it sounds weird. Otherwise.
I guess didn't realize that he had spent time in New York. I think he was saying like he was in California at some point, in New York at some point. I don't know if he was just visiting Chicago or if he also lived there.
I think from the sounds of it, he lived in New York for a period and then he relocated, you know, with the acting dreams, I guess, to California. And he said like he stayed there for 30 years. But, you know, I mean, that's where his house was probably, but with all the plane travel he does, he could have been in New York a lot too. So who knows?
It was cool to hear about some of the places in New York that he had performed at that I'm sure I have been able to, especially like when he was talking about like the village area and stuff like that. And those are some really like small spots.
Mm-hmm.
So to be able to go from like, you know, something that might only see
20 to 30 people,
30 people to like, you know, your own special
sitting stadiums.
Yeah.
But I also thought it was kind of interesting that like he smoked weed the entire time. Like he never ever gave that up.
I think he said that when he finally stopped, it was a 37-year stint that he broke.
Right.
He was constantly.
That's a long time. How do you even remember what normal is after 30 years of 37 years of like?
Well, it's not smoking pot, I guess. That would be the new thing.
I mean, some people need that to be normal.
After a time, I would think so. You just get your body used to it, and then it craves it. And, you know. But the interesting thing to me, though, is he's talking about his wife Brenda drinking and all that, and how much he had to do for her. It's like, yeah, but we're not hearing stories about what had to be done for you because you're doing all that. So it's like, there have to be stories, and do you not remember them?
Yeah, I'm sure like smoking pot is probably not the only thing he did.
Oh no, it wasn't. Like he had lots of coke and beer and everything else. So, But like you said, it was like, oh, it was Brenda who crashed into the inn. So I'm sure you did shit too, but it's nowhere in this book. So either you don't remember, or you're just not electing not to say.
Yeah.
So,
I just didn't want to focus on that. Um, do you have anything?
I don't remember much else like to add or to talk about.
also too, there was Kelly, his daughter, and I was like, I'm gonna look, see if she wrote a book, and sure enough, Carlin Home Companion.
Wow.
Just to see, because we're getting all his side of the story, and I don't know. I got the impression, even though he says it, you could tell throughout the book, his main care was his material.
Yeah. I think he even said something about
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
knowing that he let his family down because he was focused on work so much.
Mm-hmm. His commitment to the bit, I guess, is, I don't know the best way to put it, but
Unmatched.
yeah.
I mean, he does talk about like how meaningful having a room full of people laughing at you was. But considering the things that he was like talking about, I feel like that's even above
Mm-hmm.
that. Like there's so much purpose in sharing that truth and getting people to open their eyes and being the outlet for people to be able to do that.
Right. Well, he talks about that being like one of his major discoveries was, you don't have to keep people laughing. You have to keep them engaged. So even if they're quiet, as long as they're engaged, you're good.
That was one of the things that one of my teachers first taught my class in improv.
Mm-hmm.
Because he said, take the stage. I don't want you to do anything but keep our attention somehow. And then when I went up there, I decided to move a piece of furniture. So
Mm-hmm.
I actually grabbed a chair and started moving, and he was like, wait. Everybody understand what he's doing, because now everybody wants to know what he's doing with that chair. So
Right.
it was
Mm-hmm.
like doing something to have their attention is very powerful.
Yep. And as a performer, you quickly learn what that feels like. So and you can tell when you're losing a room, even though they're silent. So
I wonder, I guess you would know more than me if you have watched his sets, but was he also the type of person to make fun of the audience? Like, would he ever engage the audience or like.
Maybe early, but I don't think late stuff was. He was more focused on telling you about the man, the patriarch, the what they're doing, the government, the church. He was talking crap about everything, but the people. To be honest, actually, now I think about it, I don't think he actually tried to. I don't think he had any jokes about like groups of people at all.
no.
I could be wrong, but now I don't think about it. Now I think about, I don't think he talked about unless it was like early 70s, 80s racism stuff. I don't think there's much like that in his material. But he wasn't racist, like at all, ever, from what I understood.
Well, he said he preferred to hang out with the black servicemen when he was in the Army, Air Force, in the Air Force.
Yeah.
Because he had more in common with them. So I had something else to say, but hopefully he'll come back.
Priest?
No.
A group of people he talked crap about.
No, well, he seems to be, how should I put this? He has a prepared script, and he knows exactly how to deliver it. Can he improv? Yes, but it's more likely he will just.
Oh, he was a writer. He wrote a lot.
As opposed to say like Robin Williams, who I'm sure.
Like, right a lot of that was improv. Yeah.
So.
Correct.
Not that Carlin couldn't. It's just that wasn't really.
There wasn't
like,
what he focused on was his super strength.
Well, to be honest, you can really tell the difference between a stand-up comedian and an improv comedian. Like, Well, maybe not. Maybe not that easily. But I'm saying, like, if for those who start at improv and go to stand up, have a completely different way of looking at things than stand up comedians do. It's weird.
I mean,
I,
even like, go ahead, Tom.
no, I was just gonna say I think of it as classical musicians versus jazz musicians.
Oh, okay, perfect. That is
Yeah.
a great metaphor.
Here's the score. You memorize it. You
Right,
play
right.
the crap
Versus
out of
someone who's just gonna wing it.
it.
Right.
Okay. Key of F. Okay. And then,
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah.
But even in stand-up comedy, you have differences, right? I mean, for me personally, I feel like the funniest stand-up comics are the storytellers. Like that is their focus, is that they know how to tell a story, and it includes lots of truth and observations. Versus
really good.
Josh Johnson is amazing. Versus someone who writes a joke with a punchline and then it's just kind of.
Oh, next we'll go on to something else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony Jeselnik.
I don't know who that is. But
You don't. You will not like his material at all.
Yeah, one of my favorites in that line is Mike Birbiglia, if you've heard of him.
Oh yeah, Mike's good too.
Yeah. And I know, how should I put this? I mean, not that I'm against profanity, but not because it's profane. It's because, oh, come on, that's the low-hanging fruit. Work hard.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if it's overused, it can seem crazy. I mean, even in writing, I feel that way. It's like, we were reading something that I was like, come on, like, we don't need an F-bomb every other sentence. Like,
there's another comedian that was up there with Carlin and Bobcat Goldthwait.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't as vile as this guy I'm thinking of, but I cannot think of his name at all. But they were all in the same category. Like, they would push everybody, and he was the worst. Like, he was worse than George Carlin because of how much he cursed. And George Carlin did it to push buttons. This guy did it just to curse. So
Right.
yeah. So I know what you're talking about. He didn't make it that far. I mean,
was he mentioned in the book, or was he?
I don't think so.
Well, the name that is mentioned in the book, and I was going to bring this up, is Sam Kinison.
Oh no, that's him. You're right. That's him.
Okay.
That's him. I didn't recall that being that happened, but yeah, that's him.
No, because and this is in the context of him being an older comedian, and now he's the one that people are gunning for.
Yeah.
Yeah, in the sense
Okay.
of, like,
I
this.
do remember that now. You're right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep.
And there's three situations. One, they're not as good as me. We don't care. Two, they're not as on the same block as me. We don't do the same material.
Right.
Move. Oh no. They're as good, if not better, and they are doing the same material I am. And that was Sam Kinison to him. So,
are there any similarities between Sam Kinison and Bobcat? Because for some reason, I feel like in my head I can like confuse them, but I don't know why that would be the case.
Sam Kinison was the ragey guy. Bobcat Goldthwait,
Yeah, he had the weird fluctuations in his voice.
right.
Bobcat was good too, though. I liked him.
He's so much different.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I hear him. The only reason not different, but more subdued. Because I hear him every so often on Wait, Don't Tell Me. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's settled down a lot.
Yeah. So.
That's interesting. I mean, obviously, we need comedians, and I think people like have a gift, like people who can just story tell and make people laugh. Like with the dumbest stories, like it doesn't even matter what they're talking about. It's just about how they deliver the story.
Yep.
Yeah. There was a special, and I wish I could find it on YouTube. It was they had British comics and American comics, and like for most of the Americans, it was all profanity and such, but the English was just like, it was so much better. Like Rowan Atkinson, I think, was on it. And if you've ever seen Mr. Bean, yeah, you don't have to talk to get.
No, he is really good at physical work.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I remember the one sketch where, it was clear he was having dinner and the waiter offers him wine, and he says no, and he goes like this way as though he were driving home drunk. It's like you could immediately tell that was what was going on, and it's like, yeah, it's like And to me, that's what good comedy is. Like, it may not be obvious, but when you get it, you're good. So,
Was there anything that you encountered in the book that was really surprising to you?
You're asking me that already.
Did I? Okay. Then
Tom,
something that
did we
was
already
like
answer that too?
that was like really memorable.
well, surprising was that, well, not after I thought about it. Like I said, no, him being raised as conservative Irish Catholic,
Mhm.
but knowing his material first. How did we start here?
Yeah.
And yet here we are. So
Yeah. Apparently, he made a lot of nuns angry.
yes, that's not surprising.
I mean, it all starts with a question, right?
Yep.
Like
Mhm.
that's why a lot of times religion doesn't want you asking questions.
Nope.
Mhm.
Because they lead to more questions.
Right.
Yes, and if you start asking uncomfortable questions, well,
And you start getting answers people are not comfortable with.
oh, the other one he mentioned was Steve Martin, who apparently was huge at the time too, as a stand-up comedian. So, yeah,
I only know Steve Martin through like his movies, and like
Airplane
I feel
and-
like no. See, I have not. I have never
You would
seen
hate
that
it.
one.
That's why
But
I'm
it was
sure.
a holiday movie, right? Because it was. Are we thinking about the what's it called? Oh, just Airplane.
It's just Airplane.
Okay, isn't there another one called like Airplane, Automobiles, and something?
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Automobiles.
Yes.
That one.
And then
Him and John Candy.
Naked Gun
Great
movies.
movie.
Yeah, see, I always thought the Naked Gun movies were really corny, and so
Yeah, that's
like
why I
in my
figured you'd hate
brain,
Airplane.
Steve Martin was always really corny, but I never saw his like stand up, so I don't know how funny he was or how.
Try to find it.
We
He was good.
It's good.
That was back when he would do the wild and crazy guy thing, and he'd have the arrow through his head and such. No, I'm serious. Yeah.
That's an old bit. Jesus Christ.
Thank you, John.
Hey, I know it. Okay.
Yeah, but you didn't see it when it's first in its first run.
You're right. I didn't.
Yeah, you saw it in syndication, you bastard. No.
Right,
And,
then
it was
Chevy
funny.
Chase and all the SNL crew that were
Yeah.
doing it back then. Like
And
when
how-
it first started.
How they got all that collection of people in one place, and boom. What was I going to say? No, but at the time, yeah, Steve Martin, he was huge. And this is before his film career took off. So he was still, again, making that bridge. And he actually got into acting. As opposed to, I'll make the distinction because Carlin, oh, he was in acting, yes, but no, he got bit parts, almost like cameos, really,
Yeah.
as opposed to, all right, you are the lead in this movie. Or like when he acted against Dirty Rotten Scoundrels with Michael Caine, which is a good movie too if you haven't seen that one.
Michael Caine is good at everything.
Yeah, but to be paired with him,
Right.
yeah, kind of says you were right. So
I forgot what I was gonna say. Oh, when did he pass away?
Who?
Carlin. It wasn't that.
I don't think it was that long ago.
right?
I don't know.
Like
Yeah, that's one thing I was wondering is if he ever got to put on New York Boy.
like
I think
lasted
so.
for 10 years. I mean, what is time? I don't even know anymore.
2008.
Yeah.
Okay.
June 22nd of 2008 in Santa Monica. Dude, look at that picture of him.
Wow.
And it's the kind of thing where, again, I think that was the more maturing years are. It's like, yeah, you've done everything you can about yourself. Now look at it, other people, and have them be the centerpiece of your art for a while. So it was funny because he said there was a time period there where he would be looking at his belly button and coming up with comedy. Yeah, I have it. Yeah, you have it too. So.
I don't know.
Are we done?
I don't know.
Are we just
I don't
searching
know
now?
if I have-
And I am tempted to say, and I'd have to look to see if this is true still, but Hulu had a lot of episodes of Saturday Night Live, and I actually queued up the first one. holy crap, is that George Carlin? Sure enough.
Oh wow! I was gonna say, was there overlap there? Like, was he ever on?
Oh
No,
yeah, he was on. Yeah, he mentioned it.
being on for like one or two, and then like he did something that Lauren didn't like, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, of course,
and
like
they brought him back eventually, I think. But yeah, but like I said, I was like, wait, is that George Carlin?
yeah, after he justified what he did. Like,
Yeah.
like he did a thing on live, and then they're like, "Oh, you can't do stuff like that." And then, like after he's been pushing for years for it to normalize, then they're like, "Okay, you can come back."
Yeah. Society had to change, not him.
Correct. There's a song that I've been hearing a lot lately that I like. It's called "Like a Villain."
Mm-hmm.
And the tag, I guess the chorus part of it is it I didn't need it, it needed me.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was pretty good. Anyway.
Well, that's usually the way it is with villains. It's like, no, in the sense that they always, the best villains always think that they're saving the world.
Right.
That's how they go about it, is the wrong way to do it.
Correct.
So, and I haven't checked yet, but I was like, oh my God, I wonder if Carlin's albums are on like Spotify or something. Because I was thinking, it's like, who buys comedy albums anymore? Because you can see all these specials and such.
Because, like, I don't know, back when Adam Sandler and everybody else did CDs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen a lot of good comics. It's like, I don't know if they have albums, but you go to Netflix or Hulu, they each have like their dedicated, comic, like stand-up comic feeds. So I think it's more into mainstream than it was, at least in terms of streaming. I don't know.
Would you rather listen to a stand-up or watch it?
That's a great question, because like I probably watch it if it's available. Like I don't, if I were like, oh, a comedian, like I would look for it on Netflix. I wouldn't think to just listen to it.
I used to have a Pandora station of stand-up comedy, and it would play random older comics because they don't do that. They don't put their stuff out anymore. It's all on Instagram.
Yep.
So I don't know. That's one thing I just still enjoy. It's like it sucks that it's all repetitive to me now because I've heard it all. But it was all a mix of like Jeff Dunham, Mike Birbiglia, Anthony Jeselnik. It was from those I guess the early to mid 2000s, 2010s era. Right. Every once in a while, I got a George Carlin in there, and I turned it up every time.
I didn't look to see if he's written many more books.
Yes, George? He has. Audiobooks, at least, that I've seen. Because they say, oh, hey, you listen to George Carlin. Here's everything he ever did.
It's pretty good when you have your own niche, right?
Are they more topical, or are they still like
unclear? Like one of them has him sitting at the Last Supper, with Jesus' spot empty, and the title was "When Will Jesus Bring the Pork Chops?"
What the fuck?
I mean, maybe it's like religion focused, I guess.
They're not supposed to eat pork.
Okay, but like,
I'm saying the pork chops.
But no, one of the ones I saw, it was Hassan Minhaj. And it's the kind of thing where, like Carlin, and that's the reason I'm thinking of, he knows how to be on the edge without being offensive. Yeah. And I think that's where Carlin excelled. It's like, he's just out there enough to make you think, but it's not like oh, hey, he's insulting me.
Yeah.
Sort of a thing. And I think that, Hassan Minhaj is another.
Had a knack of getting you to look at something without actually thinking about it or feel or at least bringing it up and showing it to you in a way so that they try and explain it before he got there, so that you're not like already automatically go, no, I don't want nothing to do with this, like, because there's a lot of people just shut down on certain words.
I mean, the hostile people in the audience during that one show like were obviously like not prepared to hear anything that he was saying, but
that's the wrong audience, but yeah. Mm-hmm.
But, maybe he was just like a super communicator, again, ahead of his time. Like, I think you have to present information in a way that's digestible and not insulting, and
It's not going to
like
hurt
you
your
have
stomach.
to let it shouldn't be given with judgment,
Right.
Right.
Because nobody wants the judgment.
Well, George definitely gave the judgment.
Yeah, but I feel, wasn't he like judging more the institutions
Yeah.
versus like
The people, right?
But I mean, to me, it's sort of like, I'm sure you're familiar with all the retellings of the Greek legends for the females by women authors. Like example, Circe by Madeline Miller. She also did the Achilles one. And it's like, okay, when you put the facts together like that, you have a case. And it's like, okay, you know, same thing with Carlin. Okay, when if you construct the things in a certain way, yeah, it makes you think. So
um,
I think it's also telling that I believe it's still true that SiriusXM has a conversation like labeled George Carlin. It's not just him, but he's featured most often. But you know, even now, how many years after his passing. So
ratings and final thoughts.
I only give it 5 stars just because I love, I want to support the situation and the cause wholeheartedly. Comedy, sticking it to the man,
All
a
these
finger to the media, like all of that. Cool. Go George.
suggestion: read
What's that?
read the ebook,
Yeah, okay.
because there's some stuff in there which I know is not in the audiobook. It's like,
Right.
well, that's interesting that you took that out. So
Oh, huh. Okay. All right.
I know of one, but I don't know if I should say it here. So that'd be because it'll be clearly a spoiler to you because you haven't read it.
Right.
So no, I'm not saying it's not good. I'm just saying, yeah, maybe not have the whole story as it was written. Sorry, continue.
I think most of the time I just give memoirs 5 stars anyway, because I feel like it's somebody else telling their story, and unless it's like super boring, completely uninteresting, and like,
Or they were a complete douche to the world,
Yeah.
telling us that they're like, yeah, I was, but I mean, even then, if they're owning up to it, that's a different story.
because
too.
we read a memoir recently, or it was more like a collection of essays of another comedian recently that I may have given like 4 stars to, because Tony something Segura.
Tom Segura. Tom.
So, because like I think in the beginning they were just like really vulgar and they seemed pointless, some of the essays. Then as time went on, like his storytelling got better, and I was like, okay, now I'm in it. But then
maybe you got more used to it
again, like in a dumb way.
Right.
And so I think that's why I deducted a star from that. But mostly 5 stars, and this one 5 stars. How about you, Tom?
Well, for the reason I said before, I gave it 4 because I think I would have liked to have heard more of his exploits while he was on this. He was certainly willing to do it for his wife, but not for himself. So
Right.
also too, he rarely talks about Brenda except in the cases where she was helping him do his act. Which I think says a lot. And and he says himself, yes, his main thing is to be famous, and the way to do that is comedy. And the other thing he devotes I don't even know why he included it, is when he met the love of his life. It's like, well, I wonder how Brenda feels about that. The Sally Wade or something like that. And it's like maybe like for 5 or 10 pages, then she doesn't make an appearance again. Because I guess implication being she didn't help him with his career, because he had people who do that by now.
So, interesting.
Well, I'm wondering if there's a level of narcissism that didn't really leak out from him. That he felt he owed more to the world than he did the people close to him. Or I don't know.
And this is not judging him as a person. It's more
right.
what he chose to tell us. I think there's more of a story in there. Is what I'm saying.
Makes sense.
That's all. That's why I'm thinking about getting Kelly Carlin's book and say, you know, because to hear him tell it, he acknowledges, that they were fighting a lot, but he doesn't really tell them how, except in that one case where, and this is more about him, where he was going to get the baseball bat and go after that boyfriend that was abusing her.
Oh yeah.
But I think that's more, again, that sounds like a bit more about him than it is about her as time goes on. Look what I did for you. So, and does he have that personality? Yeah, I would have to think standard comedians, like surgeons or anything else, have to. Like, that's part of the thing. Yeah, who else would get up in front of an audience and say, okay, let me entertain you for an hour for, just whatever I have written. So.
All right, so we got 5 stars, and 4 stars.
Oh, you said 4.
I said 5. Okay. I said that.
No, she said 5.
Yeah.
Okay. The Tom was fault.
And then, so next month for December, we are reading. Let me pull it up.
Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret.
Everyone This Christmas Has a Secret by Benjamin Stevenson, which is the Ernest Cunningham number 3, but it can be read
as a standalone. I did look that up.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that's what we'll be reading. We'll probably meet for that like the first week of January or something after like all the holidays.
It's a short book. It's like a 5 hour. It's shorter even than the abridged version.
Birthday weekend?
Yeah,
like 21st.
Let's see how quickly you get.
All right. Me.
You usually read the audiobooks first, but so yeah, that's what we'll be talking about. And then, who has January? Are you doing January?
I asked about that, but we
haven't solidified that.
Yeah, so we can do that offline now.
Okay. All right. Well, if you're still here, thank you so much for joining us. And again, if you ever want to join us on camera to discuss the book of the month, you can do that by becoming a book club VIP member at patreon.com/LibriLabra. Hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you after the holidays probably. All right. Take it easy, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.